So Arne Slot looks set to become the next Liverpool manager, and I've already done a video on why he could technically be a better option than Amorim and Alonso when you look at the Liverpool squad and what they have. And now today's video is going to look at players that Liverpool have been linked with, who they might sell, who they might sign, and how they might line up tactically next season, not just tactics, but with potential transfers with Arne Slot. So we're looking at a few positions here, like Salah could be replaced. There's a rumour that Núñez wasn't actually that rated by those at Liverpool. It was a Klopp signing, potentially a long-term DM, left back, centre back. We're going to be looking at the potential signings Liverpool might make in regards to Slot coming in. Who would you want to bring in? But before we do that, we're going to talk quickly about Slot's tactics and what to expect and relate that to potential transfers. So early in and last season, he played a 4-3. He played a 4-2-3-1. He's been moving more towards a 4-3-3 this season, but it's a 4-2-3-1. 4-3-3 sort of base to his tactics. He's very possession dominant. In build up, it's normally 4-2-2-4 kind of structures with obviously one fullback inverting and overloading the midfield. They're very important high press, high turnovers, win the ball back up high. That's one of the best things that Arne Slot is at doing. You know, Liverpool have a high press and intense pressing style. To play under Arne Slot, you've got to be able to cover a lot of ground. You've got to be able to press intensely, run, be very physically fit, and it's very physically demanding, which means one, Liverpool need to sort out their sort of injury situation and bring in players that aren't injury prone and better medical staff. But two, you know, he will have a focus on young players. I think some of the young players at Liverpool are going to do really well under Slot. I think players like Harvey Elliott will potentially have a big role there. Obviously, one thing they do is they like the right back to invert, and then the right wing would stay wide, and then the left back would stay wide on that side, and the left wing would invert. They like basically one full back to invert and one winger to come centrally and the other one to stretch width. So they want a right, if they have the left winger stretching width, then they will want the right back to stretch width with the right winger inverting in and the left back inverting in. If obviously in the case of Liverpool with Trent, the right back will be the one that inverts, the left back will be the one that stretches the width, which means the right winger will be someone they want out wide to stretch the width. The left winger, they'll want someone that will come central into the left half space. That's something to expect, and they like to create centrally. They have a sort of dominance in those central zones. Zone 14 is the zone sort of just above the box. They like to have a lot of shots from there, create overloads there. I guess Soboslai's ball striking could do very well in that area, but they like to sort of come and create centrally. Now, out of possession, they press quickly when they lose the ball. As soon as they lose the ball, they try and press and cut out passing lanes as quick as they can, because their ability is to win the ball back as quickly as they can to stop the opposition progressing into the final third. They have a high defensive line to reduce distance covered when they're defending transitions. They play more of a 4-5-1 mid-block when defending transitions, and their focus out of possession is to regain possession as quick as possible. And they do rank first for high turnovers because they try and regain possession in that sort of final third. High turnovers out of possession, they like to dominate central areas, and pressing structure tries to force the opposition out wide. When the opposition does break through their pressing structure and get into their final third, they like to defend very compact to basically make it harder for the opposition to find space between their defence. We've obviously seen Arsenal do that quite well this season, and they do have the lowest XG conceded this season, so it does work very well at Feyenoord. Obviously, you've got to apply it to Liverpool and all of that. So that is obviously sort of the tactical setup, very basic tactical setup, but I thought I'd give you the context on how it was set up tactically, because then we're going to relay it to what Liverpool's lineup could look like next season. But obviously, they've said, and there's a few reports, and I know Paul Joyce is quite reliable, that Núñez was a Klopp signing. Liverpool are looking at a Christopher Nkunku. We're going to be talking about what kind of striker may suit, obviously, Slot, but also maybe strikers similar to Christopher Nkunku that Liverpool may go for. They've been linked to Pacho of Frankfurt a lot recently. Levi Cole was one that's been linked to a bit recently, as well as a few other players. So I've looked at Liverpool and I've looked at potential areas to address, and I think long-term Salah replacement, probably a striker. I think like they can go into next season with Núñez and Jota if Núñez finds form and Jota stays fit, but that's very if buts maybes. Núñez, Jota, Dan's, Gakpo can all play centrally, but I think it's not quite worked this season. So I do think they'll probably have to look at one. Centre back, probably left back. I mean, I do rate Robertson, but I think Tsimikas will go on. They'll need someone to push him out, and potentially a left winger. But I think left winger depends on sales, because I do think that Diaz and Gakpo and Jota can all play there and do a job as well. But there are a few good wingers that could be like young from South America that maybe they'll look at, maybe getting a long-term Salah replacement than a young winger from South America. So We're going to start about the DM, and I've gone with Matt Sweefer. One, because he's brilliant, and two, because he's at Feyenoord, so it kind of makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if they looked at a Doucouré, Human, a Varela type player as well, but I think considering Matt Sweefer's at Feyenoord, and I've done a lot, basically, it's also the fact that I've already done a lot of research on Matt Sweefer for my Tottenham video, my Newcastle video, and a video I did on Manchester United, because we're talking about 6-8 hybrids that are needed. Matt Sweefer is the obvious pick for me. He's 6'2", long-legged dual winger. Some places say he's actually 6'3", but I think he's 6'2". But he's got those long legs, which makes him difficult to get by, because he can just make tackles, intercept the ball well. He's very good at winning back the ball. What does he want? Players that win back the ball. He's got the pace and power and athletic qualities in terms of ground coverage to be a powerhouse in midfield. What does he want? Players that can cover mass amounts of ground. Surprise, he plays for Slot. He can control the ball well. He's press resistant, good at progressing the ball, good in and out of position, good at stopping transitions, winning the ball back. It's everything that Liverpool are going to want, and obviously he's going to want in this midfielder, and he currently plays for Slot. Mobility, athleticism, he's got it all. Now, I want to move over to the striker position, because as I said, do Liverpool look at someone that's cheap, maybe a South American gem that's maybe 12 million, maybe like Marcos Leonardo's one that's recently gone to Benfica, or do they go, well, we've got Dan's that's young, do they go, we've got maybe Jota, if he can stay fit, Nunes could find form when he's a confidence player. Personally, I do think Liverpool had decent striker options, but I think when you look at Manchester City with Haaland, obviously Arsenal not so much, but Arsenal are in the title race. Liverpool probably aren't anymore. I do think Liverpool can't rely on Nunes. It's been 2 seasons. I think first season is an adaptation season. Second season, they can't rely on him. I actually think, and I'm saying this as a Manchester United fan in a non-biased way, I actually think there is a good player in Nunes, and he does a lot, but he just needs to be more clinical. And I don't know if that's confidence, I'm not sure, but I think they will be looking at a striker. And considering they're sort of looking at Nkunku, I was thinking, who's most similar to Nkunku? Now, there's João Felix, but I think he's overpriced and overrated. There's João Pedro, who's at Brighton, so Brighton will probably ask for a fortune. There's Cunha, who's been very, very good for Wolves. I rate him highly. He's in my sort of I Want a Man United video. And Joshua Zirkzee, who reportedly will be £35 million. He's at Bologna. He's been brilliant. So I've gone with Zirkzee, 22 years of age. But why I've gone with him is he's very Firmino-esque. Now, I don't know if Liverpool wants someone that is a demon, guaranteed goal scorer, or someone like Zirkzee that is more of a striker, that's more Firmino-esque, that can facilitate the wingers. He is someone that can play with Jota. Jota could be striker. He could play in that number 10 role, because the one question mark is if Liverpool do set up in a 4-2-3-1, they'll have a number 10 role. We'll see McAllister and Szoboszlai have the capabilities to do that, but that could be one where Liverpool have always not really played with a 10. They've normally played with 2-8. Obviously, his link-up play and creativity is the best. He's not a clinical goal scorer, an out-and-out goal scorer, but he is somewhat clinical, but he's very good at facilitating his wingers, and his all-round play is very good that he causes the wingers to score more. He can dribble, he can pass, he can hold up. He's someone that can allow Jota to be your main striker when Jota's fit and play behind him, or be your main striker when Jota's not fit. But he's 6'4", he's fast, he's athletically good. I think Zirkzee's definitely someone they should look at. Dribbler, and this is from my video on Amorim as well, but I think every top club should be over Nico Williams. Man United, Newcastle, Spurs, Arsenal, everybody should be over Nico Williams. £43 million release, of course, can play on the left, can play on the right, got a decent injury record, two-way winger that can go inside or out. Honestly, when I say one of the best dribblers you've ever seen, makes Diaz's dribbling look bad, and we know Diaz is probably Liverpool's best dribbler. He's insane 1v1, insane dribbler, but he's also very good at getting a cross in. He's got a good finish on him. I think he's a bit more clinical than Diaz, because I think Diaz does everything right sometimes for Liverpool, but he doesn't always finish. This guy is the type of guy that can cut inside and shoot, or deliver a nice cross, get into the half space, or he can go out wide, which makes him so unpredictable. Fullbacks really struggle against him. If you look at his FBref statistics, he's like 99th percentile for anything 1v1 dribbling, and obviously that pace makes him great in transition. He's also very hardworking, can cover a lot of ground, press a lot, and is an elite ball carrier. I think he's just type of winger that you should be looking at. I think Elise is great, and I think if you're looking for more pass-first winger, he could work, but could he be overpriced? An injury record. Neto could be overpriced, an injury record as well, but they are good options. Sule of Juventus is a bit of a risky option, but I think value for money could be good. Bakayoko of PSV is another one you could be linked to. Now, centre-back is a difficult position for Liverpool, because you've been linked to a lot of players. Now, look at me, sorry, I keep getting his name wrong. If you were getting Amorim, I'd be sold that he's the guy, because he's the ball-playing centre-back. I think he, again, can work really well under potentially Slot. I think Pacho is one that you've been linked with a lot. I'll have to do a bit of research on him. I think Levo Colwell could be good. Is he a bit overrated? I think, to be fair, he's just playing in a bad Chelsea side and he's been injured. I think he's a good player. But Kim and Jae could be for sale because Eric Dyer plays over him at Bayern, and Kim and Jae is a brilliant player. I also think Todibo might end up at United because of the link with Jim Ratcliffe owning Nice and Todibo being at Nice and him being heavily linked to United. And I think maybe you're looking more at left centre-back. But I think Todibo would be a really good option. I think physically in the air, a bit of a weakness there, but Van Dijk's brilliant at that. Todibo is very good at defending large spaces, very good at playing a high line, very good at defending the wide channels. So if Trent does invert and he's right centre-back, he's very comfortable at defending the space that Trent would leave behind. I personally, if I was Liverpool, go for Todibo, who'll be 38 million. Xerxes is reportedly 35 million. Todibo is reportedly 38 million. That's 72 million. Nico Williams is 43 million. So you're looking at 72 plus 43. You're looking at 15 million there. I mean, for Xerxes, 115 million for those three. Potentially, Mats Wiefer is about 35 million as well. So you're looking at 140 million for Wiefer, potentially Xerxes, Nico Williams and Todibo. 140 million for those four players. It's actually insane. Bringing me into the fifth player who probably will be really overpriced, and I think Liverpool may look elsewhere, is Ait-Nouri. It will depend on the fee, but he's good going forward and back. He's probably better defensively, but Wolves are more defensive side. He's got that pace and power and that confidence. He's got the physical profiling to be very difficult to beat 1v1. If players are fast, if they're powerful, if they're quick, if they're physical, if they can cover a lot of ground, suits a lot of style of play, very good anticipation and awareness, very good reading of the game. 1v1 situations, he's very strong, physically strong. I think also with Trent being better going forward, I think he brings a bit more defensive stability at fullback. He's very good at dragging opponents out wide to create space and link up the players in central areas, which literally is what Slot will want. Good ball carry as well. He can happily carry the ball forward, stretch the width, good in the air, defensively solid. I think he would be a great left back choice. I just think Wolves are going to demand a fortune. I think other names to watch if we're looking at another winger, because I did say potentially Liverpool might want to overhaul the whole front three, but I do think that Jota's good, just injury prone. I think Diaz is all right, but he's been hit and miss. And I think Gakpo, there's definitely a play in there, but he has been hit and miss. I would say Sule Bakayoko, Elise or Bowen could be of names. Elise and Bowen Premier League could be a bit overpriced. Now, this brings me into chosen 11 of my summary about how Liverpool could set up next season. We spoke about having one that inverts and one that stretches the width. So if Trent inverts, Nico Williams is someone that you want to stretch the width. You've got potentially Ait-Nouri that stretches the width, and Jota comes more central because Jota's better in central areas because of his finishing ability. You've got Xerxes that can obviously drop deep, and you never know. You've got Jota here and Williams here stretching the width that he can feed the ball into. Elliott would come into this sort of right half space here, and Trent would come here, and they would operate very well. They like to do rotations on the right-hand side. Wiefer is sort of pushing up here with McAllister, but McAllister, again, wanting to dominate more of that central zone. With Wiefer here, the defensive line would push very high. Todibo is very good at defending large spaces and wide channels. And then Ait-Nouri would sort of be up here, again, stretching the width, potentially overlapping. And if you look at it, Trent would probably go even higher. Elliott would probably operate here. They would end up sort of doing something like this. And I think this could work really well, potentially when you look at Wiefer and Xerxes being 70 million, Todibo being 40 million is 110 million. Then you sort of look at the price and the value of players there as well. Nico Williams just over 40 million, it's 150 million. Ait-Nouri might be 50 million, which takes it to 200 million. So you definitely have to sell players to spend 200 million. But I think there's some good choices there. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.